If we look at the history of money has been used as many things. Seashells, it's been used as bartering. It's been used for animal skins, but animal skins deteriorates. Salt has been used as tradables for purchasing items. Salt is where we get the word salary, is because saltine, the word salt. Cattle is the word that is kind of like where we get the word capital. Many things have been used for transactions throughout history. Big problem that usually comes along is that a lot of things they use for trading, it doesn't match up, it doesn't equate very well. You might trade for orange, but orange is constantly deteriorating. You also have to worry about how well it's stored. Now, fiat monies and coins especially have been used, and it's been really well. It doesn't go too far into the decimals or the precision of a transaction as most people would like, but it's been pretty well. But when it comes to cryptocurrency, there's a completely different thing. So the government has always been able to print off their money, it seems. Back to the early days, kings and emperors would have their face printed on it, and that would be a way of transaction. Nowadays, we have stuff like proof of work. You can actually look through the history of the transactions and see where things are coming from, which gives it more reliability. Paper money, you can print off. People have been able to counterfeit money for a long time. And yes, we've gotten better at figuring out what's counterfeit and what's not. Still happens quite a bit. Obviously, Bitcoin can be created. I guess it could be lost. What I like about Bitcoin, the decimals go on forever. If you wanted to pay something, you could go down to all the way down in decimal to give a precise amount of how much you're willing to pay, which makes it better for everyone. You can be precise with how much you trade. We all know that CBDCs are probably going to come out where the government's going to have their own central bank digital crypto. I do not expect the government's crypto deflationary or even stable. They're always going to want to print their way out of a jam, pay the bills, and then make us deal with inflation, which is the increased supply of money. I hate inflation. If I save up all my life for $50,000 in my bank account, and then they decide to print off $1 billion and give out everyone $50,000, then my money that I saved up my entire life for will be basically worth nothing. If they decide to increase minimum wage to $50,000 an hour, and I saved up my entire life for $50,000, I'm too old to be able to work, and these people are making money, a lifetime's worth of money, quicker than I did. Well, even if I saved up all my money, it could be worth nothing because the government can issue more money. Bitcoin's limited supply. 2040, Bitcoin will mine all the crypto that need to be mined. You guys can correct me, of course, anything in this video. I believe that it'll be transaction costs that will be paying miners from that point on. I love that Bitcoin's fast. You can quickly transfer Bitcoin from one end of the world to the next faster than you can do a wire transfer. So CBDCs, they're going to be matching or better than what Bitcoin's transactions speed will be. This is just hypothetical because it's all guesswork what the future's going to hold. I know that all the countries are looking towards it, and they got all their money that they can print off and all their funds that they've collected. With all the backing behind it, with all the brains that can be given to make it faster, it'll be as fast as possible, I bet. If we have a situation where we have a cryptocurrency that's faster than Bitcoin, or can do more than crypto that we have thus far, why would people choose Bitcoin over something with greater speeds? It all kind of goes paper money versus gold. I feel that paper money is commonly used. The thing that had the longest history was gold and silver compared to paper, because gold and silver have been a storehouse that's reusable. People have been able to go from country to country, as place to place, and use gold where they couldn't just use food or anything else. Been a proven storehouse of value for hundreds and hundreds of years. I believe when it comes to more advanced cryptocurrencies that the government might make, you'll still have in your mind this government crypto will be inflationary. They'll probably be able to do what they've done since the beginning and print off as much money as they need to pay their bills, while Bitcoin has a limited supply. Bitcoin has been used since the beginning of crypto. Take at least a couple of generations for someone to want to move from something that's been proven dependable, reusable, trustworthy to something that the government just issued. The government can always make illegal Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency and have such harsh penalties. No one will want to be caught alive with. Of course, eventually we have the concern that quantum computing, work out all the hashtags, render Bitcoin useless. We don't really know yet. I just think that Bitcoin has always been tested, always been proved, always shown that it's been usable, while all these other ones will have people, and people are usually the cause of defects. people will find a way to misuse anything, and if they have any centralized control over a coin or token, then they're going to manipulate it for their best benefit. That's human nature. That's why I don't think, unless there's forced control over who uses what, Bitcoin can go away. There's like 200,000 Amish people, and they've been able to keep their way of life, and that's because they refuse to give in to the demands. They've signed up for the draft and all the other things that might be included. People underestimate how powerful a group of people can be. And if a group of people decides not to give in, pretty much the only way you can make them is by force. And force is an option, but it comes with some costs too. And the government has to decide if they're willing to pay those costs. Enough Bitcoin people, they don't want to use anything other than Bitcoin. It'll make it very difficult for the government to force them to do otherwise. But not impossible. Is Bitcoin eventually going to be hackable? Or that's always a possibility. Is there going to be other things faster than Bitcoin? Yes. Are there going to be greater perks to using other ones? Yes. Ethereum was the one that basically found out that you can put other codes and different things within the blockchains and basically started NFTs. They found out you can transfer more. Bitcoin continues to come along, stay along. First in, best dressed. When people think cryptocurrency, when you type cryptocurrency, you get Bitcoin. It's not always going to be that way, maybe. But right now, Bitcoin is the gold of crypto. So this is showing the buying power over time. So $1, as you can see, has increased and decreased and decreased over time. Got the Bitcoin chart. It's gone up and up and up and up. Yeah, we see times where it decreases like we see here. Over time, it increases. We just have... which would you rather have? Your money that you use day to day be like this? Or would you rather it be like this? We can see the different inflation rates throughout time, and you don't see very many negatives. You see like 15% here in the 1920s, 14% increase here, 1770. So in 1980, $1 was worth $23.65 today. So obviously, if you sit there and you hold all your money in the bank, it's going to devalue over time. We look at this, and if you held your money in the bank, it has increased. Even at the lowest right now, it's $16,000 when you could have invested like $100 back then, 2013. $100 to now, and you would be a lot better off than you would in these charts. There's also something I really need to discuss with you guys, and that is fractional reserves. So whenever a bank gives out a loan, they have to have a portion of the money that they loan out. So if a bank loans out $100, they need to have a certain percentage of that $100 into the bank. A bank does not have one for one. They could loan out money that they don't have and collect interest on that money. They do not have to have the money, any money, not even a fraction of what they loan out. We look at this Congressional Research Service, and it says, traditionally the Fed conducts monetary policy by changing the federal funds rate. The overnight interbank lending rate in response to COVID-19 on March 3rd, the Fed reduced the federal funds rate from a range of 1.5% to 1.75 to the range of 1 to 1.25 to stimulate economic activity. On March 15th, it reduced the range to 0% to 0.25. Economists refer to this as a zero lower bound to signify that the Fed's traditional monetary policy tool has been exhausted at this point and cannot be used to provide additional stimulus. The second time this interest rate has ever hit the zero lower bound, the first time during the 2008 financial crisis. So basically, they're using money they don't have. I hate it anytime someone uses money they don't have. Now this article, or blog I guess, Huffington Post. Few depositors realize that legally the bank owns the depositors' funds as long as they are put in the bank. Our money becomes the bank's and we become unsecured creditors, holders IOUs. But until now, the bank has been found obligated to pay the money back as cash on demand under the FDIC BOE plan. Our IOUs will be converted into bank equity, and the bank will get the money and we will get stock in the bank. With any luck, we may be able to sell the stock to someone else, but when and at what price most people keep a deposit account so they can have ready to pay cash. Thanks to Dodd-Frank, if it happens to hold your money in a savings or checking account at a bank, and that bank collapses, it can legally freeze and confiscate your funds for purposes of maintaining its solvency. These are things I want you to keep in mind in the coming days, because I hate when banks can hold your money to use to pay for itself. Now, this is not financial advice. This is just me kind of doing a rant on what I think about Bitcoin compared to current day currencies, and the future currencies. I just want you guys to kind of have a heads up where my stance is and what I think about day in, day out. Feel free to correct me on any possible mistakes or flaws in reasoning. I love to hear the feedback. I love to be challenged. And if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd rather enjoy that you check out maybe subscribe.